Stop singing with your head. Start singing from your soul. I'm Brad Chapman, and this is a Radical Vocal Breakdown. Let's go to work. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Listen, what if I told you that the less voice training you've had, the better off you might be? Sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But I'm Brad Chapman. I've got a lot of experience in this. Vocal coach, vocal pre-producer, 24 platinum records, various places on the wall, and Grammy-winning students. So I've worked with legends like Def Leppard, Vivian Campbell's with them now, Anita Baker, and after 50 years in this business, I'm going to tell you something that might shock you, maybe not. But the singers who come to me with 0 lessons, they often transform faster than the ones with years of training. And today I'm going to show you why. Here's what I need from you. Help me out. Drop a 1 in the chat if you've been singing for years and still don't sound like you. Drop a 2 if you've never taken a voice lesson and you're wondering if you even belong here. Well, you do belong here, more maybe than anyone, so stay with me. Before I teach you anything today, I'd like to emphasize a saying I created, watching what's going on with short attention spans in the music industry. Instant gratification is a cheap imitation of real gratification. The great artists that you admire don't work on cheap gratification. The great record producers, the great record companies, nobody's working on cheap gratification. Maybe cocaine occasionally, but the actual art, they pay their dues. They put their time in. So let me give you the receipts, real people, real results, and pay attention because one of these stories might sound a lot like yours. I know it sounds like my old past. Anyway, Tyler came to me after years of voice lessons, scales, exercises, technique drills. He'd done it all, and you know what he sounded like? A really well-trained robot, or as AI said, a perfect pitch pipe. It's a little thing you blow on. Anyway, 0 feel. So I told him, forget everything that they taught you about pitch and rhythm, being in the groove, all that, because we're going to start over, not with exercises. Keep doing those are good, but with feel. Within weeks, his own friends didn't recognize his voice. Not because it had changed so much, but because it finally came alive. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, Brad, I've never had a single lesson, I just sit in my car, well, that's good, man. Have a good time. Be singing. You don't have years of mechanical habits to unlearn. You're starting from a clean slate, and that's a gift in this area. What I'm about to teach you doesn't require reading music, doesn't require vocal exercises. All it requires is a pair of ears and a willingness to feel something. Robin came to me and said, hey, Brad, I love singing, but I never had a real lesson. I don't even know if I have any talent. I said, can you feel music? And she said, well, yeah, I feel it right here. I said, well, that's cool. Let's talk. So that's all I needed to hear. We started the imprinting process, which you'll be learning about. No scales, no drills, just listening with intention and singing with feel. And she told me later on, 20 years of wanting to sing like a great artist, and nothing unlocked my voice like this did. This is powerful stuff. 20 years of wanting, a few weeks of imprinting. That's a pretty big difference. So whether you've had 100 voice lessons or 0, the path forward is the same. Stop training like a machine. I'll show you an image of that real soon here. Start imprinting like an artist. That's what everybody wants to be. When you're 5 years old and you see somebody on that stage, you don't go, oh, I wish I could be a robot. You say, oh, I wish I had that feel. I wish I had that smile. I wish I was in elation. Or maybe you're 15 years old, or maybe you're 20 years old, maybe you're 50 years old. Doesn't matter. When you decide, hey, I want to be like that artist, you don't want to be a robot. So if you've never had a lesson, you might just have the biggest advantage in this room today. So what I'm about to show you today is a piece of something I call the imprinting method. It's the same process my platinum-selling and Grammy-winning artists use. The same process Tyler used to come alive. The same process Robin used to finally unlock her voice with no training, at least the old kind, whatsoever. And just today, a full-time artist that started as a beginner with me, Alicia S., wrote on Instagram. She said, thank you, Brad. I couldn't have done it without you. Well, let's be serious here. I couldn't have done it without her either. So it's a team effort. All of my students, we're working together for success. So today you get a taste for free. And if you're brand new, if you've never done anything like this, you're in the perfect seat. This will introduce you to my Vocal Muse Suite. It's a video program with 30 videos, about 10, 12 minutes each. and my Sing from Feel ebook. So let's get into it. All right, so let's take a look at why we're here. We showed you this earlier, but we're going to play a little bit of the song that we're actually going to be working on from Bette Midler. So just listen for a moment, tune in, see if you like it. I'll turn it up.
The tender reed, some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
So there's an incredible artist that we'll be learning from. Her recording mostly. You can't say, oh, I'm learning from Bette Midler, but we're learning from her recording, and that's incredible. We're going to run you through a group of photos to make all of this clear, because it's such a new concept. I mean, it's not something new that anybody didn't want before. They just didn't know how to get it. I had to create it. No one taught me, but my years of experience have made it possible for me. So I'm going to put this on the stage. You're going to see a robot and an artist. We kind of briefly talked about that. And what's really cool here is what we're going to learn from this, because I was a robot once. Many of my students have been robots once. We do what the teachers tell us. We listen to the music educators. They say, be in the pocket, be in the groove. In certain music, that is right on, but in contemporary music, not so much. So generally speaking, we don't want to be this robot here. We don't want to be this guy. It's cute, though. And we don't want this audience over here. Now, if they were a bunch of singers, they might go, oh, he's a great robot like I'm trying to be, so we love him. But this is the average audience. They're not turned on by perfect pitch and perfect technique. They're turned on by this. They're turned on by elation, emotion, feeling. This guy's feeling something. It's emoting everywhere. And so everybody's reacting. Hands up. Do more. We want to get more and more. This is what singers want. They don't want this over here. But it gets pushed on us from the classical world. That's what they do, and that's okay. You know, it takes a lot of discipline. Those are incredible people. Let's move on to the next image. Always takes a second here because it's a self-produced show, but we love having you live here so that you can ask questions, and we'll feel free to chat while we're doing this. And where is that? AI is going to say, you wasted too much time. Anyway, okay, so the tracing effect. Now, besides the voice lessons, and sometimes this happens in voice lessons as well, we decided to call this tracing so that it would make sense to you all. And basically, it's a mistake that we all make, but it's not a bad mistake. It's not like, oh my God, you know, this was a terrible thing to do. It just wasn't the best thing to do. And we're going to use a visual image here to give you an idea of what we mean by tracing. So if you're trying to learn from an artist painting-wise, and you see their picture and you just start tracing along, you're just like taking a pencil and drawing this dog here, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But because of this piece of paper in the middle, you're missing all this great work over here. This is what we really want to get into, the colors, the 3D, the beauty, the thing that makes you go, oh my gosh, wish I could look at that for longer. And look at the hand here. It's in the way. And when we're singing along with a record, which is what we call tracing, you put on the record and you're in the car and you're just singing along and you're going at full speed, not the car, but the track. You don't want to be doing that only because it's only a part of what you need to learn. So the next example will be showing you what we mean by absorbing the DNA. We need to absorb the DNA of an artist, not just the general pitch and the general rhythm and the general words. That works at weddings, you know, you can get gigs and so forth, but it won't work when you're trying to really get somewhere. And actually it still works in the restaurants and so forth. People want to hear feel even at the cocktail parties. You can be obnoxious and do too much, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody over there who's feeling their music, not drawing too much attention, and people are just going, oh man, this feels good to be here. So here's the artist here up on the stage, again, emoting the colors, the emotions, the 3D effect. And here's us as students. We're going to absorb this, and this is where imprinting comes in. We need to absorb this so we can create our own art. This is not about copying artists for the sake of copying artists. This is about learning from great artists in order to really make things work for us. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. Now, it looks like we had a comment come in, so let me just check it real quick here. It says, hi, BD. It was HDBD. Okay, that's an acronym I don't know. So anyway, hi. So I'm glad you're here, but if you could kind of explain what HDBD means, that would be cool, unless it's a swear word or something. You know the rules of YouTube. You don't want to go there. All right, so let's move on to the next. This is going to explain sing from feel and the power of it and how it works. Again, it's a matter of learning. You know, if you're here for 5 seconds and you're just looking for a quick fix, you might as well move on, because this is not a quick fix. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of talent and a lot of discipline to get to where great artists are. They are not people with short attention spans. They're people with very long attention spans. And that's what we need to groove here. So I'm teaching you how to do this. This is the next thing here. Okay, so this is a graph. We all love graphs, right? So let's think of it, this is up to 100 here. That's the goal this way. And then the goal this way is how long it takes, or the things you have to do to get through there. So let's go back to the robot, the technician. I don't know why it's making that funny thing. It should just be pointing at this. But anyway, we got this technician here, and the technician only gets to 35% of the goal here, because all they have is perfect pitch, memorized lyrics, and perfect rhythm. And as we showed you earlier, the average audience gets very bored with that. So you're traveling along here, you're getting better at it, you're singing at full speed, you're doing your tracing, you're getting more songs, you've got a bigger catalog, you're doing better voice lessons, you have higher range, all those things that many of my students have been through that didn't get anywhere, and same with me. And then all of a sudden, it starts to trade off. Like, I'm getting bored with this, the audience isn't applauding, I'm not getting the standing ovations, this isn't what I got into this for, and you might quit, and you might even be bitter at the music industry. Well, let's change all that. Let's go from the sing from feel method. So yes, we do need some analysis, so that we get the words, we decide whether this song fits us, et cetera, et cetera. But we're not going to do the mistakes that are being made up here. We're not going to work on perfect pitch and perfect rhythm. We're going to work on imprinting, which brings us up higher here, all the way to the goal of the vocal imprinting, which starts in right here. I mentioned earlier, this is, the diagrams don't necessarily line up. Now, once we have the imprinting, which I'll show you how to do, and the Vocal Muse program will teach you exactly how to do it. You can have that at home, so you can be practicing, just like my guest Olga is going to show what she's been doing at home. Then we need to integrate, right, so that we're not just copy artists. It becomes a part of us, so we integrate. We're moving up the slide here. Then finally, we create our own work, our own artistry, because we've gotten everything that we need, and now we're at the top. We have feel and we have flow, and this is what sing from feel means. You feel emotions, and they emote through artistry and music. In other words, why bother, right? You could just talk, but singing gives you a whole new level of abilities and skills. All right, next. Okay, so what is perfect pitch and perfect rhythm? Sometimes people don't really know what that means, so we pull up sheet music here to make this very clear. Here we go. Put it on the stage for you. So much to being a TV producer. All right, you should be able to see that now. Right now, there you go. Okay, so sheet music is kind of math. Okay, and they use it for orchestras to keep everything together. But contemporary music doesn't work this way. So it's good to listen to this to remind you. And if you've gone to a voice teacher or a musical coach, and they want to teach you songs and they're using sheet music, I can't recommend that. Not if you're a contemporary singer. And this is why. You remember you heard Bette Midler sing? You've heard other singers many times like her with contemporary style. Does this sound like contemporary style to you? Check it out. Here's the melody. So if I make the same mistake, and I did many years ago, because all we had was pianists, we didn't have all this great technology we have today. It wasn't the 21st century. It was later 20th century, and we still had to have pianos come in. But it never felt right. You know, I worked with contemporary singers all my life. I was one. But it never felt right to teach them this. And I think you can understand why. Let's listen to that one more time. A, B in your mind. Does this sound like Bette Midler? Does it sound like Ariana Grande? Does it sound like Teddy Swims? I think you're going to find very quickly in your mind that the answer is no. Doesn't feel right. It's just really, I don't mean to laugh at it, but for contemporary music, it's just wrong. And Olga will attest to that as well. I'm going to bring her up real quick here. Yeah, she's giggling in the background. I love it. Okay, so let's move that off the stage because we've had it with that. But it's not bad. There's a purpose for it, and it actually can be used for reference. But what is Bette Midler actually doing? And I'm going to show you with this wonderful technology called Melodyne. It's what record producers use to evaluate singers, all the music actually, and decide what they're going to do with it mix-wise. Are they going to change it? Are they going to leave it? How are they going to use it? Now, we're not going to be sound engineers today. That's not the point. This is just to give you a visual of how different Bette Midler is from that sheet music. So just think of this as a basic graph. And the white area here from left to right is pitch. Okay, so this is the name of the note, C major. You don't need to know what that means. Just need to understand that this is the target that perfect pitch and perfect rhythm people are telling you that you have to create. The rhythm is the lines that go up and down, the vertical. And so depending on where the note lands on this line, it'll tell us whether it's perfectly in pitch and perfectly in rhythm. So let's just take the first note. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just want you to understand that Bette Midler and commercial singers like her have done tons of this. I've looked at tons of these things. Aretha Franklin, Frank Sinatra, whoever, they never sing perfectly on pitch and perfectly on rhythm. Sometimes, yes. Okay, so this one is perfectly on pitch. So let's be fair. It's perfectly on pitch. But it's early on rhythm. See, it came in way before the actual eighth note starts. This one here is a little bit sharp. That means it's above the target, and it shows us here in this little boxes up here. I know if you're on your iPhone it's hard to see this, but just listen to what I'm telling you. It's 10% off the target. Okay, so Bette Midler is 10% off the target. Should we fix that? Absolutely not. Bette Midler is the standard here, not sheet music and not classical teachers. This one is quite sharp, and this one is quite flat. And let me play this again, just to remind you what we're listening to.
Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Now, the mind does a very interesting thing here. It's almost tricks us because we would say, wait a minute, that was perfect pitch and perfect rhythm. That sounded incredible. Well, because people have been feeding you this, that everybody's got to be this way, you think Bette Midler is. Well, here is hard evidence that she's not. And that's because she knows better than that. She knows that feel and emotion are far superior to pitch and rhythm. So you have this one is on the rhythm. This one, these little lines here that you see that are moving around, those are the things that you feel. Some say love, these things that are happening in between. They don't really show you what perfect pitch is. These are the kind of on-pitch notes, but these are the things that are happening in between. So even though these two notes look like they're pretty close to on pitch, when you actually listen to that, which we're not going to do, it doesn't sound like perfect pitch. And this note here is quite flat. You see how low it is in the gray here. And it's a little bit late again on the rhythm. Here, same kind of thing. Pretty close on pitch, but there's all these erratic lines. There's vibratos. Now this one I love to show you because this is where she goes, some say love it is, or the da, right there. She's holding that out. Well, because she's sad, very, very sad in this song, these lines quite often come below the pitch. So these vibratos are heavy, right? And so that creates emotion. Now, let me clear that up. Emotion creates the pitch. Pitch does not create the emotion. Don't get it backwards. When you're listening to it, yes, it seems like it's the way the pitch is that's causing the emotion. But if you're the one doing it, it's emotion causing the pitch. If you're a great musician like she is, great entertainer. She's sharp here. This is pretty much on, but there's this little note here. Now, we're going to point this out a little bit later, but I think this is really cool. You can't really hear it happen here. You'll be able to hear it later on Audacity. But listen again, and before I tell you what I'm going to point to you on. Let's see. Come on, why are you doing that? There we go.
Some say love.
I'll stop it right where I'm going to talk about.
Is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Did you hear that? Leaves. It's erratic, like emotions. Now, this line right here, this is what I want to talk about, and it'll be clearer when we get to Audacity. She says, that leaves your soul do bleed. Not to bleed, not even do bleed, but actually do bleed. Now, did the record producer go back and say, do it again, Bette, we need to hear that we need to hear that right? It's got to be to bleed. That's musical theater. And in musical theater, that's absolutely the right thing to do. You got people a couple hundred feet from you. If you don't say to bleed, no one knows what you just said. But Bette Midler using a microphone, she understands the recording world. She feels it. She knows that emotion and everything is far, far more important than diction and so forth. Anyway, we can move on from this. This is just mostly to let you know that the favorite singers that you're listening to, this is a mind blower, an epiphany, if you will, that all the singers you've been listening to all your life on the radio, unless they've been classical singers, are not perfectly on pitch and not perfectly in rhythm. They're not trying to nail everything. They're trying to feel something so that you can feel something. Because if you don't feel anything, you're not coming back to the next show. And you're damn not going to put out a couple $100 for a ticket. Sorry if I swore to the wrong person, but sometimes I just get into this thing. And we have a hello from DRGVD, and I want to say hello back. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please ask them, because that's why we do it live, so that you can, be involved. Okay, here is the lovely Olga. Just kind of popped up there.
Hello.
Isn't that amazing? How'd you do that, Olga?
Like magic.
I know. The magic of TV. Now, Olga's been with me a while, and she's been through voice teachers, and she's been through a lot of the things we talked about. And also she has a record producer that just loves her, that teaches her emotion, and other record producers that love her that teach her emotion. And they know how incredibly important this is. And so, Olga is like, I want to use her as an example for you guys, but she was a beginner at one time. She didn't have emotion at one time, or at least not the kind she has now. So everything that you see her do, you can do too. And that's why she's here, just to help us out. She is really you have to know her, but she's great.
Thank you.
Let me just say that, right? Okay, the next thing that we're going to use here with this, again, 21st century, is called Audacity. And this is going to be where Bette Midler actually teaches us how to do what Bette Midler's been doing. Melodyne is great. If you just want to own Melodyne, you can buy it for a couple $100 and put it on your computer. And then any singer you're wondering about, how are they doing things, you can go in there and look at it. But if you actually want to imprint it into yourself, if you want to integrate it so that you can actually use it in singing, then Audacity is the target. So Olga has worked on this on her own time so that she can create the perfect unison, which is our goal at first. We want to create a perfect unison with Bette Midler, so that we can feel exactly what she's doing. But at first, we're going to have Olga do it the wrong way, or not the right way. I know I just confused you, but that was the point, right? It's okay to trace. That's what we call the tracing, what she's going to do right now. And it's what you've been doing, it's what I was been doing, and sometimes we still do it. I mean, hey, if we're just having fun in the car, just sing. Have a good time. You don't have to get into this heavy research. But if you want to be a great artist, you've got to pay your dues, because your dues will pay you back. If you pay your dues, your audience will feel that, and they will give you the applause. They will give you the tickets. They will give you the tips in your tip jar, because you made them feel something. Do you want to hear this first, Olga, one time, or do you want to just go for it?
We can hear it once.
Okay, so here's the section we're working on. And the reason we only pick a section is because to do the entire song, especially with this incredible learning that we're going to be doing, would just be too much for today's show. All right, here we go.
That drowns
So this is the phrase that's coming up that we're working on.
Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Right on. So
Okay.
everybody imagine you're Olga right now, and you've selected this song and you're singing along, and this is what it sounds like. Here we go.
That drowns the tender reed.
I sing.
Some
Yeah.
say
Love, it is a razor that leads your soul to bleed.
All right, so it's right on. I mean, she did a great job. Thank you.
Okay.
But notice that she wasn't, if you were listening
No.
carefully, and you can always review these videos later on, she was sometimes with Bette and sometimes not. So sometimes the rhythm was right, sometimes the pitches were basically really good. Sometimes the vibrato was different, so forth and so on. So from a learning perspective, that's not what we want. It's okay to do it, it won't hurt you, but it's not the goal we want. If you're a man who sometimes wants to learn women's songs, say something in the chat and I'll show you how Audacity is used for that. Because sometimes, we like that song and maybe a woman sang it and made it famous. I mean, one of the reasons I picked this song today is because my Vocal Muse suite uses this song. I picked this song for the program because it only has one octave, the entire range. So if you don't have a lot of range, you're going to be okay. You can pick a key where you're comfortable. You're not straining. The melody is very repetitive. What's going to blow your mind when you buy the program and you actually go through it is that even though sheet music would tell you that every phrase is the same from the first section to the second section to the third section, it'll show you the words are different, but it'll tell you the notes are all the same. When you notice it, you're going to notice that Bette Midler sang every phrase, even though it should have been the same, different. Because emotions don't work like robots. You don't have the same emotion for every section of the song, for every word. Mm-hmm. So it's floating, it's moving, and that's what Olga's been working on her own, is to match that, to feel it, to understand it. And if you do the whole song, Olga, then of course you would find that. As you go through every phrase, you'll go, wait a minute, I thought I learned that. What is she doing?
Yeah.
And this is a great time to talk about music theory, and I mentioned it in the program because that was the first thing I thought. Okay, I'm trying to learn from Bette Midler, so where's the beat, right? Is it some say love? It is. And where's the pitch? Is it da da da? And it was never the same. The beat was always different. She came in, just like we showed you on Melodyne, she came in before the beat, she came in behind the beat. Now in this particular song, she comes in behind the beat mostly, which you learn from going through it because it's sad.
Yeah.
The character she played in the movie was on close to death. It was Janis Joplin. And Janis Joplin was over-drugging, as they did in those days, not knowing the dangers. And, it killed her. But what she went through just before she died is kind of what this movie was about. So this is very sad. So sad emotions rhythmically cause dragging.
Yeah.
You drag behind. Happier stuff is either more on or is a little bit ahead. And as you noticed, even on Melodyne, Bette Midler hit a couple of sharp notes, but only because she was just kind of moving through and she wasn't worried about trying to be perfect. Okay, so this is the next portion of this. We're going to slow it down. Why are we going to slow it down, Brad? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. Of course I know. Because if we really want to understand and hear what Bette's doing, we need to slow it down. Now this is fairly slow already, so I'm only going to slow it down by 20%. I'm going to apply that, and again, my Vocal Muse suite shows you how to do all this. It's not hard. Might look hard because you've never done it, but it's really quite easy. So we're going to listen to it 20% slow. Why? And I want you to all be involved in this. Listen for details. Listen and notice where she says, do bleed. It's going to become very obvious. Before it wasn't so much. The other day we were working on Taylor Swift's song, Fortnite. One of my students working on it. And she actually sang stuck in. She actually took a breath. She said stuck in. So the word is stuck in, right? But she took an actual break in the middle of the word.
Oh.
Is that legal?
Nice.
Absolutely. Because Taylor Swift did it, so that makes it legal. The producers aren't going to go in there and say, you got to sing stuck in. No, you can do what you want as an artist. Okay, let's listen.
That drowns
This is kind of the lead in. You might consider it a introduction. This is the part I really want you to focus.
Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
That's so funny. Do bleed. I mean, who would have heard that, right? I had never noticed it. And I'd sung, I actually did this about 10 years ago, and I had sung this song many times for weddings and actually for my ex-wife's mother's funeral. I didn't pick up any of this. I thought, oh, yeah, I know it. Some say love. I might have picked up little things like some say love, maybe. But even that, Bette Midler rolls under that note. Some say love. It's not on pitch. It's not like this riff, that you'd play on the piano.
Yeah.
All right, so let's listen again. Everybody focus in here. See what you can notice. I'm going to ask Olga what she's noticed. She's been through this before. But I want you to ask yourselves, what do I notice? What have I been missing every time I've heard a song like this before? Because I was listening at the original tempo.
That drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Okay, Olga, what have you noticed about that you probably wouldn't have noticed before?
I think within the vibratos, you hear when there's flat notes basically within, but that is what is expressing the sadness, really. That's how you feel it. That's what I noticed in this one. Slow down.
Anything else?
Again, also just, you can tell it's more conversational, but held notes. I don't know, bleed, that one stuck out for me too. Bleed.
You caught that. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, conversational is something we notice with almost all the contemporary singers. Even if they're doing wild black gospel stuff, it's still very conversational. And, I remember taking voice lessons where they said, don't ever do what's called a glottal attack. And she does them all over the place. She goes, so some say love, it is not, They say, no, it's got to be, it is a river. Well, again, classical music has different rules for different reasons. We don't need to go into that. But the point is that if you want to do microphone work, which is what we're doing now, and you want to have great response, then you've got to sing the way people sing on microphones, which is more spoken. So, it could be as simple as, some say love, it is a river. And if you had enough emotion there, people would go, wow, that was so incredible. But singers are always going, oh no, I got to be perfectly on pitch. I got to have, my teacher's six vibratos per second. I never did get that, which is okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good anyway. It's like, let's not get into that. This is not about vocal technique. This is not about saying vocal technique is bad either. Don't get me wrong. I teach vocal technique. It's got its place. But when it comes to what you really want in life, which is to get an audience response, if you don't want that, go ahead, do the other thing. I'm not going to tell you not to. No one should tell you not to. But if you're the kind of singer who wants the thousands of records sold, thousands of followers on YouTube, or fill an auditorium like Taylor Swift does, it's just unbelievable. It's like you're watching a football game. There's just people everywhere, right? And people say she can't sing. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. That's your opinion. That's okay. But these people all know that. Okay, so this time, since Olga's already practiced, she's going to do her unison. Now, again, Olga, I would suggest that you wait till the some say love, it is a
Sure.
Just wait. Just let the introduction come in. If you feel like you want to sneak in a little bit, whatever works best for you.
Okay.
But usually if we let that introduction get us into the rhythm, into the feel, we do better on the unison.
Okay.
But I think you know that.
Okay. I just want to make sure you didn't want to be sharing your screen, right?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I need a producer.
No worries.
Okay. You didn't really miss anything, but yeah, thank you. So this is the situation we're using here. This is what we've been playing and so forth. Now I'm going to turn red with embarrassment. So you see, no, it's the camera. The camera did that. I'm fine.
You're right.
Right. Olga's turn. Thank you so much, Olga. Here we go. Oh, also, those of you who have said hi and so forth, and you want to say what you heard when we slowed it down, chat with us. Here we go.
That drowns the tender reed.
Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Let me check something.
I'm too used to doing the
Yeah.
I couldn't quite
Well, I know that's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to break a habit like that. Just want to look at far play. Yeah, you have 38 seconds of latency. Let me see if I can bring that down. Okay. Do you know how to adjust your latency there, Olga, on far play?
On far play,
Yeah.
let me see if I can.
See if you can bring that down to around 20 milliseconds. This is far play, everyone. I highly suggest it if you want to do any work at all online and you want to be in rhythm and time with everybody else that you're playing with. This is great software. Were you able to get it okay, Olga?
It's like, oh, here I am. Okay, latency.
You slide the little silver ball to the left, and then the numbers will go down. The 20 milliseconds will go down.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
All right, so back to business here. Okay, so this time what we're going to do is we're going to record it. So here's what's happened. So Olga has picked a song, she's picked a phrase, and she did some tracing, and that was cool. She had to figure out what she wanted to do. Then, because of what I've taught her, she slowed it down, and she listened. How many times did you listen?
One second. Quite a few times.
Yeah. The listening is the most powerful part of this. Now, AI tells me, everybody wants to sing. Just, let them sing. Well, okay, if that's all you want to do, you're in the wrong place because this is about artistry. This is about becoming a great singer. This isn't about just being somebody who sings in the shower, which is okay, too. I'm not putting anybody down for any reason. Everybody should sing for the reason they want to sing. I mean, I'm a very big believer in that. So she listened and she listened and she listened. Did you do any recording?
I did not know.
Okay, so the procedure in the Vocal Muse Suite system is that you sing along a little bit, trying to get an idea of what you're going to do. Pick a section like we've done. Usually it's the first one. In the Vocal Muse Suite, you start at the very beginning, and then you go to the next phrase, and the next phrase, and the next phrase, and the next phrase, and then you start to speed it back up. So by the time you're through with the 30 videos, you're singing the original song at the original tempo, everything lined up just like Bette Midler so that you know exactly what she's doing. And interestingly enough, there is a place that you can do that where you could get a standing ovation, and that would be a karaoke bar. If you sang it and you sounded exactly like Bette Midler without Bette Midler's voice being there, they would go, "Oh my God, she's just like Bette Midler. That's incredible." So there's a place for that. But for the artistry, if you want to do shows where you're selling tickets and you're bringing people in to listen to you because you're Olga, not Bette, then you don't want that. You don't want to sound like Bette. So the next part of this is, okay, the listening has happened, singing a few times, we've done that, we've listened, we've sung, we've slowed it down. The next part is where Audacity really shines, and that's multitrack. So we're going to record, and Olga's going to sing while we're recording, because while she's singing, it's kind of a problem with tracing. You can't really hear Bette exactly when you're singing along with her. So she absorbed what Bette was doing because she knows that if she tries to catch up with Bette or be behind Bette. She's always going to be like. So that's what the listening does. It creates the Bette Midler inside, so that then when you sing it, it starts to come out exactly the way Bette does it. So now we're going to record that so Olga can evaluate where she's at in the process. Here we go.
That drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Great.
Ooh. I know that I didn't get the bleed, but continue. Yeah.
Well, you focused on do.
Yes, I did.
And, if you all remember, if you were here when I did my opening statement, I talked about that if you've never had any training, you're actually in a better place to learn this than if you have had, especially if you had teachers telling you to say every consonant. And I'm not saying they're wrong. If that's what you want, people call me and they say, what do you do? And I say, well, I do contemporary music. And they say, well, I want to do choir. And I say, well, I'm the wrong teacher. I want to do musical theater. I'm the wrong teacher. I want to do opera. I want to be in the UNLV opera company. No, I'm.
Gotcha.
I don't want to waste people's time. It's too valuable. All right, so now because we had FarPlay in our system here, Olga was able to match rhythm, and we're going to listen back to it now. You had a really hot signal. Way to go.
That drowns the
Now we're listening for unison. We're listening for Olga sounding exactly like Bette.
Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Now, isn't that interesting? You kind of said, oh, that wasn't very good. Well, it was very good.
I feel like I lost it at the end. I know she does something, but that was all from her emotion, for sure.
Sure, and you can't, to some degree, you can't copy that, right? I mean, in a way, we're doing some tracing ourselves because it's really, to get every emotional sensation that the woman was going through at the time, she probably couldn't even do it again. And this is an interesting study. I want you all to think about this. If you go to this recording, which was the studio recording, and you learn like what you've been learning today, how exactly Bette Midler does it, then go to her live shows, which is all over YouTube, and notice how it's always different. Because she's always expressing emotions. Everything is always different. And that's why you can't completely copy. But you can do this. You can mute the music and listen to Bette Midler all by herself. And as you're doing that,
Some say love.
okay, let me change the tracks here. I rehearse these things, I promise, but sometimes. Okay, so here is just Bette Midler. Just singing that line all by herself. No music.
The tender reed.
Now you can really hear the
Some say love.
inflections.
It is a razor.
It is. How flat that was.
That leaves
Erratic.
your soul to bleed.
And she actually studied with my voice teacher, Seth Riggs. I'm sure he was telling her, get that 6 times a second. But, Bette Midler knew better than to do that. But then you can hear those things, the and the slurs and all those things that create those emotions. And so that is a very good thing to do too. Just again, going back to just the listening. But the reason that you do it with the music first is because the music is setting a tempo, and that tempo is steady. Bette Midler's not steady. So it's it gets really crazy if you're just trying to sing along with her and there's no beat.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's really important to have the music there. Now the next part of this is the creative part. This is where Olga gets to be herself. Yay! Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, but now Bette Midler's voice is not going to be there. Do you want a little bit more space before you come in? And do you want original tempo or slowed down for the artistry part?
I think original tempo is okay.
Yeah, if you've heard the song enough, that helps.
Yeah, and then maybe just if I could hear her before I come in, so I know where I'm at, because I'm
Sure.
not sure.
Yeah, I can just have her come in and then mute her.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so we're back to the original tempo. And here's the introduction, and then I'll just hit mute right before you start singing.
that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
There's some imprinting, but yeah.
Well, yeah. That was, especially that last word, that was very powerful. I don't know what you felt, for sure, but it sounded like you were feeling emotions to me.
Yep.
And this is a thing that a lot of my students mention to me about singing with emotions, is that they don't remember what they did. Because when you're in an emotion, you're not introspecting. You're not thinking, what's my voice doing? What's my tongue doing?
Yeah.
How's my mouth shaped? It's just like what you're in a conversation with a person that you're having an emotional conversation with. You're not, what are my lips doing? You're in the moment, feeling the emotions, and sometimes, that's sometimes where arguments really get heavy. Is like, well, you said, well, no, I didn't. Well, I heard you. It's getting so we're all going to be carrying around digital recorders all day long, right? Because to stop all those arguments. But that's the way it is. You don't remember because you were emoting emotions, and so you weren't introspecting. You weren't looking back. And the other thing that the book talks about, we're going to talk about the Sing from Feel book, because that's where we really get into what Olga just did, into the art, into the craft, into where emotions really affect things, into the recording, how producers work, how great artists do things that they do. It really gets into detail. One of them is what I call my redundancy theory. And this is the problem that happens, and believe me, I've heard this many times from singers who've sold millions of records. They say to me, Brad, I hate hearing my voice on those records. Well, the first time I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, that record won you 8 Grammys? You don't like it?
Yeah.
So I had to, again, so many things that I've come up with over the years of nobody had the answers to, so I just had to think about it. That's the type of person I am. Why? What's going on here? When you listen back to yourself on a recording, you do a lot of introspection. That's what we do. We go, oh, what did I do? Oh, what did I do? Oh my God. No. So you're out of the moment. You're not in the moment. You're out of it. You're not. Other people who are listening to it are just feeling what's coming out, like the image I meant earlier. The oranges, the greens, the colors. What we're hearing when we listen to ourselves back is as boring as talking to yourself, which is kind of what you're doing. You've talked, we'll call it singing, but you've talked. Now you're listening back to yourself. That's talking to yourself. It doesn't have oranges and greens. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have colors. So the best I can recommend there, and it's been very helpful to a lot of my artists, is when they do the mix down after the recording, don't go in there and tell them what to do, because your opinion is skewed. It's okay for you, but it's not okay for your audience. They don't want to hear you going in there and correcting all the pitches and all the diction and all the things like that. And voice teachers, unfortunately, and I was one of them once, are guilty of this, where the student has said, hey, I'm going to do a record, come on in. And I mean, some of the people I went in with were quite well known. And I basically crawled out of the studio. I was so embarrassed as to what happened, because they wanted me to correct their technique, because that's what we'd been practicing in their lessons. And so, they're asking me, Brad, should I do goog, goog, goog here, to get this pitch on and so forth? And the producer's just kind of getting redder and redder, and things are boiling hotter and hotter. And all of a sudden he just says, look, to the band, he said, look, guys, he says, when I signed you, I heard a recording in your front room. I said, I don't know what you've been doing for the last 6 months, but you've ruined the whole thing. I just want to hear that raw, beautiful emotion and talent. So I was like, okay. I think this is a bad idea. So I learned to not be there. I tell singers, no, if you want me in there, then I'm going to be only emotions. I'm only going to be doing emotional, just like a record producer actually does. Like I learned from Quincy Jones, you coach emotions. You don't coach pitch. You don't coach diction. You don't coach rhythm. You coach emotions. So again, that happens if you go in there and you start trying to tell the engineer, and you might do it because you're paying them and they'll do what you tell them, right? Because you're paying, but you'll go in there and ruin everything. I know one of my students who eventually got great feel had done a record with a producer, and they had used Melodyne on the whole thing.
Oh.
They fixed everything.
Yeah.
And she was so happy and so proud. She brought the record to me, and I was listening to it, and I said, no names, I'm sorry, but that's not good. And she was like heartbroken, but I was her teacher, not her fan club. So I said, look, go back and do it, turn Melodyne off and remix it or something. But there's no emotion, there's no story, there's no feel here. And so the book and the video program, all this experience over the last 55 years of teaching and 63 years in the industry have brought all of these things to my attention, and I just can't teach the wrong thing anymore. So I don't do this technique, perfect pitch, so forth and so on. And, I've got there's a student I'm working with right now who I only do vocal pre-production for, so we don't talk at all about anything but emotions. I mean, she doesn't want technique or anything from me. She just wants me to help get her ready for the record. So
Yeah.
Olga's been through it with Mayat and Dave, excuse me. You just don't go there. It doesn't help you. It doesn't make your life any better. So I think we can pull out Audacity off here. But this is basically what you'd be working with is this Audacity software. And you can do it with a phone and a computer, or you can use different windows, or you can use two computers or whatever, because the program is just teaching you what to do on your own computer. So you can use your phone to play the recordings and then, do your work on your computer, however you want to do it. And it talks about headphones and so forth. Now, one thing that's new, that is so new that the program doesn't have it in it, and we did use it here today. Let me put it back on the stage so that you understand what I'm talking about. It's called a stem splitter. And for those of you who don't know anything about this is one of the biggest gifts of the 21st century to me. Because it's making coaching just incredible. And we actually did, put it on the stage, Brad, we actually did kind of demonstrate it. You remember when I played Bette Midler all by herself? That was because we have split her voice from the music tracks. So on Audacity, I have two tracks, and I can separate them. One is just music, and the other is just Bette Midler. And then also we can mute whichever one we want to. So then when Olga sang by herself on her own art, she got to use the pianist that Bette Midler actually used. That was not a karaoke track. That's the actual recording that sold millions and millions and millions of records. It's considered a major classic over the last 2 centuries, 21st and for 20th. So you want to make sure that you learn about this. It probably will come up if you ask AI any questions while you're going through the program. Unfortunately, things are changing so fast that I don't know about you guys, but I go to use a software that I've used before and it doesn't work anymore. Why am I clicking on that and I'm not getting anything? It's not working. I go to AI. I say, how come? And it says, oh, well, we changed that. Okay, thank you. So instead of clicking here, click there, right? So this is just all part of being the 21st century. Yeah. One more thing about the key changes, and again, the video program shows you this, but just let me make a quick demonstration for you. We'll just take one small section of this song. We don't need to spend a lot of time here. But if you want to change the key, if you've never done this before, it's very easy in Audacity. There's a lot of telephone apps that'll do this as well, iPhone apps. And that's the wrong one. I want the pitch. It's called pitch change. And when I did the example on the program, I went down 5 semitones because for me to create the same emotional colors that she was doing, for me to sing in her key, even though I could do it because I'd learned how to sing tenor, it didn't feel right at all. Mm-hmm. So I dropped it 5 semitones. So, it kind of sounds weird, but it really helps you not strain and get the right feel for your recording. So Olga obviously would not do this, but Brad would. See? So there's a tenor now.
There it is.
So, but this is what they call work product, right? We're not here to go, oh my God, Bette Midler sounds much better. No, Bette Midler does not sound much better. It's not the point. We're not here to be entertained. We're here to entertain. Mm-hmm. We're here to become great artists so that people will want to come hear us. They'll want to buy our records off the shelf. The DJs will want to, if they're still around, they'll want to play our records. They'll want to put us in their program. They want to see us on iTunes. They want to see us on YouTube, etc., etc. So last chance for any questions. Olga, have we covered anything that I've never talked to you about before that you're wondering about?
Nope. I am happy to learn about. I mean, stemming is wonderful, I think, and then to have the original music, it's great. Yeah, it's a different accompaniment for sure.
Yeah. So if you can use that in nightclubs and so forth because the nightclubs pay a fee.
Okay.
To do cover music. So BMI charges them a monthly fee so they can play music. And so the fact that you've split it and that you're singing and only using the tracks, the artists and the record companies still get paid.
Perfect.
So you don't have to worry about cheating or the system or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool. And there's some songs that I've worked on with singers where they're using the karaoke and it's just the feel is so off that I can't get the feeling out of the artist.
Yeah.
That was intended, the right emotions, because the karaoke track is just like ding, 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 ding. Mm-hmm. I'm not opinionated.
I understand.
Any last questions from the chat? Okay. All right. So I'm just going to kind of close up today's session, and then Olga and I will say goodbye because we're not rude people. All right. So let's kind of review. You just saw the invisible rhythm and pitch. What do I mean by that? Well, when we looked on Melodyne, you actually saw that rhythms were not on the groove that you thought they were, and pitches were not on the spot where you thought they were. And you heard the artist DNA. That's what we did with Bette Midler being here. I'm not sharing the screen. With Bette Midler being here, so that we can learn from her. We need her DNA. We need to understand her. And all the artists that we love, we want to understand them. How do they do this? We want to become their peer, not their, oh my God, it's Bette Midler. That's great for being, going to a concert and having a good time. But when you want to be a great singer, you need to become her peer. You shouldn't be afraid of that. But, here's the truth, and we talked about this earlier. Seeing it once, like you've done just now, is not enough. You think this would be enough, Olga?
No.
Yeah. What you heard Olga do, she didn't do just once. I guarantee you that. She's a very dedicated artist, and she puts in her time, and we love it. So again, I'll repeat this. I have a very poignant saying. Instant gratification is a cheap imitation of real gratification. So you've got to do it more than once. You've heard the 10,000 hour concept. But there's another saying that is very powerful, and that is, the mother of success is repetition. Mm-hmm. The father, the God, whatever. Not the devil usually, but but somewhere in there, people know that are successful that repetition got them where they wanted to go. There's a lot of people that say that tenacity is the best talent you can have, even better than the natural talents that some people have, because their natural talents won't take them far enough. And so they actually peter out at one point because they don't have the tenacity. Mm-hmm. So think about this. If you go back to just practicing scales and tracing the songs along in the car or wherever, you're going to be staying in what I call the technician trap. You're still going to be that robot, and that's okay if that's what you want. But if you want to be an artist, you need to turn these insights that we talked about into vocal imprinting. It needs to become a part of you. and then the integration. So knowing that these were needs, I developed the Vocal Muse Suite. Again, 30 videos, very simple, takes you from A to Z. Everything's very clear as to what to do and how to do it. You won't be frustrated, at least I hope not. And I did it specifically so beginners, and I mean beginners are all part of this, and professionals, and even celebrities can use this concept. If they, you know, if Ariana Grande hears a lick that Shania Twain did, mm-hmm. I mean, that happens, and they just want to know, how do you do that? Well, they can take this process and just work on that one line. She probably wouldn't want to work on all of Shania Twain's stuff, but she might like that, might like that line. Mm-hmm. My brain goes faster in my mouth, sorry. Anyway, so I wanted to save you all from years of really lifeless singing. I mean, it feels good to do it. You're the one singing, but from an audience perspective, it's pretty lifeless. They're going to give you polite applause. They're going to talk to their friends while you're singing. They're not going to be paying a lot of attention to you. They're not going to stand up and give you a standing ovation. They're not going to give you the hugs at the end of the show. They're not going to give you the roses unless it's part of the show. So from day one, I want you to have the soul. I want you to get the soul. And for only $97, no, I don't even like to say only. That's a marketing ploy. For $97, that's great. To save all that time, to be able to do what you're going to be able to do, it's really incredible. And then you pair that with my suite, Vocal Muse, with my ebook. And then we talked about that after. Sing from Feel. That will unlock the blueprint, the things that you need to move an audience so that they will move with you, that they'll travel with you. We did Paul Simon, and you know, he's been around for so long. He had hit records in the 60s, and he still has hit records. And the student who did the show with me has been following him all this time. And so we talked about how he's been able to follow Paul all these years, and Paul's been changing all the time, changing, because that's how you move an audience. You've got to be real. You've got to be yourself. Mm-hmm. So, you know, whether you're chasing your first note like a beginner who's never done this, or you're after your next platinum record, which my clients are after, and I hope they get them. I want one. But these two things are the bridges. These are the things that will cross you over from what you've been doing to what you need to be doing. Yep. So click the link in the description, which is below the YouTube stream, and in the chat. You can't click on it, unfortunately, but you can copy and paste it or write it down. You know, grab the suite, start working with it. Grab the ebook, start reading, start getting what you need to do. Let's stop tracing melodies. That's okay, but it's not going to get us what we really want. I'm a coach. I know what people really want. They don't really want to be tracing. They just don't know any other way. Mm-hmm. So it's time to start owning these melodies. So it's, you know, Olga owned this melody. Yeah, sure, she had some of Bette's stuff in there, but, you know, she didn't take 6 months to figure out how she wanted to completely rearrange this thing. She only took, you know, an hour or two. But work them, and, you know, in a way, I'll see you inside. And be sure and like and subscribe. You know, that's the YouTube thing. You'll hear us all say that. Please like and subscribe. Please, please, please. Because YouTube pays a lot of attention to that. And they also pay a lot of attention to how long you pay attention to the video. So if you click play and you stay with it and you watch it from beginning to end, that's a big deal for YouTube. Now, you don't care about that. I can understand that. But you should care about you and what you can get out of this video. And there's about 15 or 17 more other artists we've done. Olga's helped me with, no, you didn't do Whitney. You did Aretha. Yeah, you did Aretha. And did you do another one yet?
I think we did one way back. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? No.
Anyway, they're all out there for you to consume. Yep. And, you know, if you don't feel like this is the right thing for you yet, or maybe never, again, you could go back and review all this. This is why YouTube exists. This is why it's a multi-billion-dollar company, because it serves a great purpose. Oh, hey, Mayat. Mayat's here.
Hey, Matt.
He says, Sing from Feel has helped me big time. Okay, everyone, this is a very, very incredible record producer. And we talked about him earlier. Were your ears burning, Maya? I'm sorry you can't answer me live. I'm going to have Maya out on this show. He won't be singing, but I think it would be really cool. You know what we should do, Olga? We should do the three of us.
Deal. I am down for sure.
Now, I just thought of that. Thank you for chiming in, Maya. So I'd think of that. That would be really cool. The three of us, we've done this before, and we've just had a blast. So, what you guys would get out of watching this would be more than you deserve.
Yep.
Without paying a couple $100,000. Maya just woke up. Okay, well, Maya, review this. Olga did beautiful work today. She's made you proud. She made me proud. And everybody had a great time. And we'll sign off now. So thank you, Maya. Thank you, Olga. And we will
Brad.
see you on the other side, as they say.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye.